Hey everybody, it seems there's a lot of confusion out there on how to use Fabric to deploy a Mezzanine site to something like DigitalOcean. So I decided to create this video to explain step by step how to do that. Now I'm going to work through the Fabfile.py. We're going to work through that. We're going to work through how to deploy it to Mezzanine and some of the issues that we're going to face. So this is a generic video helping people deploy Mezzanine projects. I hope this proves helpful to you. That is generically. Now specifically, this is part of a course that I teach on Mezzanine, and we start from the very beginning, installing the project, all the way up to a very comprehensive blog like you see here. It's been a lot of fun, and for people in the course, you'll have this blog and you'll be ready to work with me to deploy it. So all of this is to say, hey, if you want to learn more about Mezzanine and you want to work through step by step how it works, I have a course out there on Skillshare, and I have a link below where you can get 2 months free on Skillshare. So you can actually take the course for free. It's also available on Udemy. I'll put those links below. So if you want to learn more about it, check it out. And if you want to learn how to deploy Mezzanine, keep watching the video. Thanks. Hey everyone, and welcome back. So if you've followed this entire course, you've come to the point where you've built this nice Mezzanine blog with all kind of functionality. We've learned a lot along the way, and in the last lesson we took the default database, we migrated it to Postgres, and now we are all set to take this site and push it up to a live server. Now to do this, I've chosen DigitalOcean. DigitalOcean gives you a virtual private server out there somewhere where you get your own little container, your own little space to host your site on. Now I chose DigitalOcean because it is a solid solution, and also it is highly affordable at just $5 a month, which meets the needs of most people. To add to that, I have a coupon I can offer you for 2 free months. So this gives you $10 credit, and what you can do with that is you can, if you're like, I want to learn how to push it up there, but I'm not ready to have a site there, you can go ahead and get your 2 free months. You can push it up there, you can play around with it, and then end it before your 2 months is up. Or if you're planning to push it up there anyway and build your site, you still get 2 free months. So in order to do that, just go to travis.media/recommends/do. Go to this link here, and this will send you to the DigitalOcean page with a $10 credit. Now it is an affiliate link, so I do get a small commission, and that helps me continue to create more videos like this. So if you have benefited at all from it, or benefit from this video and are looking to sign up for DigitalOcean, it'll be much appreciated if you do use that link, though you don't have to. So anyway, let's head over to DigitalOcean and let me show you a little bit. So go ahead and create an account. After you take that link, get your $10 credit, and create an account. When you create an account, you're going to come up here to create, and then create a new droplet. Now this is your cloud server. This is where we're going to push our site up to. So click on droplets, and first choose an image. I choose Ubuntu version 18.04, so choose that. Choose a size. Go ahead and just choose the $5 plan. And by the way, if your site grows and you need to upgrade, it's easy. You just upgrade to the next one as you need it. It's great. You can scale it as you need it. Add backups, block storage, nothing there. Choose a data center region. So choose a place near you. I chose New York because that's near to me. Nothing here. And then down here, how many droplets? Just 1 droplet. Choose a host name. So I chose, I don't know what I put, something like Mezzanine Project. That's what I chose, and you can see that here. I've already created the project, and then you just hit create. And this is going to create a droplet for you, which is the server you will use. So once that's done, you will have a screen like this. Here will be your droplet. Mine is called Mezzanine-Project. You have the IP address that you're going to need, all right? And that's about it. So here's what we need to do. So let's look at our Mezzanine project. There's a couple things we need to do to get prepared. All right, so go to My Project and go to the My Project folder, and you want to go to your local settings file. And there is this dictionary here called Fabric. It's going to be commented out. We're going to use Fabric to push all of our stuff up. And this is so great. It is a great feature, and one of the reasons why I'm doing this video is because people use this and get all kind of errors, and they just can't complete this upload and setup. So the point of this video is to show you how to successfully use Fabric, and I'm going to walk you through each little detail about it, and I'm going to work you through some of the things we need to configure to make sure that it uploads properly. Alright, so if you go to the Mezzanine deploy, you can type in something like that, Mezzanine deploy. They have some configuration instructions here, and what you get is some information about Fabric, and then a sample configuration file. So here is a sample of how you can kind of set up your Fabric dictionary to be successful in this. And then there's a bunch of commands. We'll talk about these. And here's 3 cases, the tutorials, 3 cases of how you can upload this. So you can deploy to a brand new server, you can deploy to an existing server, or deploy to more than one server, blah, 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 all that stuff. So what's neat is we can use fab all and deploy to a brand new server. If we make some changes, we can just fab deploy, and that'll put up our new changes. Then we make some more changes, we just fab deploy again. It's kind of neat. It's a really neat feature, and a lot of people have problems with it, and I can say honestly I've had problems with it before in the past too. It is tricky to make it work, but once you understand it, I think you can configure it in your own according to your own situation to make it work. Once it works, once you understand it, it is a beautiful thing. So we're going to talk all about that. So here's going to be my configuration file. So let me uncomment this. So my SSH user that I'm going to use is just rodgtr1. This is going to be the username I'm going to create. I already know that, so I'm going to put that in here. And you don't have to set this up yet. We're going to do a few things before this is final. Hosts. What is going to be in the hosts? It is going to be your IP address. So here's my IP address right beside it. I can choose copy, and I can put that right here. The IP, and it's commented right here, the IP address of your VPS. My project name, I'm going to make Mez Test. That's what I'm going to call it. You can call it whatever you want. My requirements path is the requirements.txt. And by the way, you want to make sure your requirements.txt is up to date. See, mine isn't. So in order to update your requirements.txt, and this is all of your dependencies that your project needs, so you want to make sure that you have all of these listed here, so when you push everything up to DigitalOcean, it knows what to install. So here's an easy way to do that. You can simply just put pip freeze, and then this little symbol here, and then requirements.txt. Pip freeze, and then this greater than requirements.txt. This is going to take all of the modules and push them into this requirements.txt file, so we'll be all set with that. So go ahead and hit enter and see what happens. Watch. Boom. All of my dependencies here are now pushed into this file. So I'm going to save that, requirements.txt. Good. All right, so my requirements path is the requirements.txt. That's the project's pip requirements. Locale, mine's going to be en_us.utf8. You're going to want to change this en_us to whatever your locale is. DB password, this is going to be your database password. If you followed my course so far, you know that I put that into my environment. So I created something like export db pass equals, password. I took this and I put it in my env, my environment, bin, and activate file. And then I reactivated my virtual environment, and that makes this variable usable. So what I do is I come over here and just do os.environ dbpass, and that allows me to pull that password variable from the activate file. So in case you just wondered about this. So you can go ahead and put in your password. It's not really a big deal because when you upload it, it's going to put your real password there anyway. So you can just put your real password. Admin password, for this project, I just used password. Your unicorn port is 8000. Make sure you put that in there because that's where we can kind of test our site. Your secret key and your never cache key is found up here at the top, so you can just paste that in. and that is it. There are some other things, like if you see, I'm not going to be pushing mine to a domain. I'm going to be pushing it just to an IP address. If you want to push it to a domain, there's another setting, Mezzanine deploy. There's some other settings here, and we're going to actually look at them in a minute, but like right here, domains, example.com. So if you're going to like webdeveloper.com, that's going to be your domain. Go ahead and put that domain in here, and it will configure it for you. So this is kind of the basic rundown of what they suggest, and that's what I'm going to use. All right? All right, so let's talk about another thing. So that's good. Down here in your Mezzanine project, you'll see this link to a site. It says how to set up Django with Postgres, Nginx, and Unicorn. All right, so just click that, because we're going to need that, because it's so helpful. And by the way, if you don't use this Fabric file, this Fabric setup that Mezzanine has, you can work your way through this and set up this also, but it's a lot of work, and Fabric actually does it all for you. So there's a couple components to it. The components are Nginx. This is your public-facing web server. Unicorn allows you to use your development server, like the run server, so you can kind of test things out. Postgres, your database server, and some other things, your virtual env, Git, or Mercurial. So this sets all of this up for you. If you go through this document, you see that these things are in here. So here's creating the Postgres database. Here is creating a virtual environment. Then there's the configuring a new project, which we're not going to do. We're going to upload our project. And then next is going to be Unicorn's ability, and I hope that I'm pronouncing that right, Unicorn. It's green unicorn, that's what it stands for. But so to set that up, the ability to serve the project, and then to set up the systemd socket, blah, blah, blah. And then finally down here is the Nginx, the Unicorn socket file, and then testing it, and then there's the Nginx to proxy pass to Unicorn. So there's a lot of stuff if you manually set it up. But man, this Fabfile will do it all for you. That's what is great about Mezzanine. But we're going to use this anyway because there's some really helpful stuff in it. All right, so we're going to use this. Let's just leave it at that. So one thing you want to do is you want to go and make sure that your server still runs without any errors, just to make sure everything is set up. So let's try that out. Python.manage.py, run server. Just to see that we don't get any errors, and there are no errors, so everything's good. All of our passwords, the variables, things that we are using, everything's working fine. Okay, so we got our Fabric stuff set up. We got our Fabric dictionary set up. We have our database all good to go, and we are ready to use the Fabric system here to upload our stuff. So here's what we're going to do. All right, so what we need to do is we need to log in to our droplet via SSH, and we're going to start with the root user. Now this is very easy to do. Once you start doing this, once you do this a handful of times, it just becomes second nature. So if up front this is kind of intimidating, don't worry about it. So to do that, we just simply type SSH root at and then our IP address. So I'm going to copy that, paste it right there, and hit return, and it's going to say, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes. And then there's the password. So go to the email that they sent you and grab that password. All right, I grabbed my password. I'm going to paste it in there and hit return. And that should send me to, okay, so it asks you again. So everything's good. Now let's change the password for root. You can't use the one they gave you. You got to make up your own. So it asks for the current password. So I'm going to paste that in again. Then it's going to ask me for a new one. So go ahead and put in your new password. All right, so I'm good. There, my root user is created. Wonderful. Now let's take a look at this Fab file. And there's so much you can talk about here. I'm going to try to make it quick in this video. But the Fab file, in summary, is set up for Python 2.7 in my findings. I could not get the Fab file to work with Python 3, so I had to rearrange a few things. And I'm going to explain it to you, and I think if you just take a minute to listen to me and kind of work through it yourself, you'll see that it's very simple. It's a very simple file, and there's some things we need to do to make it work with Python 3. All right, so let's get started. So let's look at this file for a minute. Let me kill my server here. I don't want that running. So let's look at this. If you go all the way down to the bottom, here's the main call. So if you type in fab all, here's what it does. It installs everything required on a new system and deploys it from the base software up to the deploy project. So what it does is it calls the install function, then if create, so if there's nothing there, it's going to create and then deploy it. Alright, so if it creates something, it's going to deploy it. That is it. That is totally what this file does. So let's go up here. So it starts with install. So let's go all the way up here. Let's find install. Install, install. Here it is. Starting at line 438, there's a function called install. Before we do that, and it will tell you this if you look at the documents, it'll say case 1, get your server, anything that grants you root access. So we have that. We're good. Fill in the fabric settings in local settings.py as in the configuration. For the SS user, provide any name you want. So instead of us creating a new user, we're going to let the fab file, we're going to let that do the work and create a new user for us. So you can pick any name you want. I showed you earlier that I picked the RODGTR1. That's the name I'm going to use. You can put anything you want in there because we're going to use this to create it for us. So good. We filled out our fabric dictionary. Now it says run fab secure. What this does, all this does, is it creates a new user. And I like it because it takes the time to disable the root. Once it creates this super user for you, it disables the root. Because if you leave your root open, people can, everybody knows root. People can start hacking away at it and maybe figure out your password. So it's always good to create another super user and then disable the root user. So check this out. So before I create that user, I want to do a couple things because I want to use Python 3. So what I want to do is I want to go back to this tutorial and take a look at a couple things. So what they suggest here is if you're using Django with Python 3, type this. If you're not and you still want to use Python 2, type this. So if you look in our fabric file, what a fab file, such a cool name. If you look in here, it says it installs Python dev, Python setup tools, and Python pip. We actually want this to be Python 3, Python 3, and Python 3 for all three of these because we want Python 3. But I found if you just do that, it still installs Python 2, and it took me a while to figure this out. But I want to prep this server. All right, I want to prep this server before I install anything on it. I want to make Python 3 the default, and so I'm going to start like this. And you may now be like, oh, it's all this extra work going on, but it's not really. Just if you have this document here, it's just a couple things you need to do. So my server is completely blank. What I want to do is I want to update. I want to make my server happy and just update things. So sudo apt update. So I'm going to paste that in here. And that's just going to update things on my server and get me ready to go. That only takes a second. And since you're using their servers, it's super fast. At my house, the internet's slower, so it would take a lot longer, but it doesn't. So it installed all these little things, and everything's good. So next, we want to install this. So what this is this installs Python 3 pip, Python 3 dev, and then all this other stuff. And we're going to install this, the fab file is actually going to install some of this again, but it'll skip over it when it sees it. So I'm going to install all of these things as well. So I'm going to come here and just paste that in, and this gets me prepped for a Python 3 server. Now, do I want to continue? Yes, I want to continue, and it's going to install. So hang in there with me for just a minute. So once this is done, I have a Python 3 base. Then I'm going to create my user. Now, when you create your user, it does a couple extra things I'm going to disable. I'll show you that in just a minute. So this thing flies through pretty quick. And by the way, when I first struggled with these things, it seemed like a lot of stuff going on. Once you do this enough, DigitalOcean is great. These droplets are great. And you learn so much by going through all of this process. And basically, if somebody needed me to do this today and wanted to pay me for it and needed my services, I could probably get a site up, 10, 15 minutes even, because I've gotten used to it now. But at first, it can be a little intimidating. So just hang in there. Follow along with me and you'll see. And by the way, the fab file does all this for you, but like I said, it doesn't in Python 2.7, and we don't want that. So I'm just doing a little of the work for it, and then I'm going to disable it in the fab file. All right, so that finished. So first things first, fab secure. Let's go look at our fab file. And up here, here it is. Security's best practices. Here's the secure function, okay? So we already updated it, right? apt-get update, apt-get upgrade. I'm going to comment that out. I don't need that anymore because I have everything I need. And if I look over here at this file, if I reference this, and actually right here at the top of it there is a link that says initial server setup guide. Let's click that for just a minute because there's something in it I want to show you. If you scroll down here and it says creating a new user, it gives you a couple instructions. It says add user, username. Here it says add user dash dash GECOS. I don't know what that means. Basically, I don't think I want it. So I'm going to follow the instructions they give because these are the latest instructions. So I'm just going to say add user. I didn't even look up what that GECOS means. You may know, and it may be a good idea. I'm just going to take it off because I don't need these kind of extra things. And so I'm going to do that. And then next up, granting administrative privileges. We got to grant administrative privileges to this new super user. So what they suggest, supermod-ag sudo. So here they have usermod-g. So I'm just going to say ag sudo. Or just to keep it in what they suggest. And that's all. That's the only changes I'm going to make. So what that's going to do is that's going to add my new user, and this parentheses S is going to be the user I set in the fab file. And actually, another thing, if you go up to the top here, you can see all of these variables. So if you wonder what the fab file is all about, so all of these environment things are set here. So get db pass, get admin pass, SSH user. Here's the project name. Here's the all of this stuff. So where's my project path? What is the locale? Here's where all of these variables are set. So if you're just wondering, hey, where are they getting this stuff from? Well, my username is going to be SSH user. So that's going to be a variable called env.user. So if you come down here, you see that in the parameters, new user equals env.user. So that just means that's my new user, and right here, all that's to say is add user. This is going to be the name you set in your Fabric dictionary. So this adds my user. This one makes it a super user. This one disables the root login. So this one says, okay, the root login is now disabled because I have a new super user. I don't need that. And then it just restarts the service. That's it. Adds the user, makes it a super user, disables root, and restarts the service. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's open this up in our project, and right here in our project we type fab secure. All right, and see my first function here is add user. So we see here add user rodgtr1. So we know that it's working. It just asks me for my private key. This is going to be my root password that I set. I'm going to punch that in. Look at this. It's going to create a new user for me. So enter a new password for this new user. So I'm going to enter in a password. All right, and then it asks you a couple things. What is your full name? I'm going to leave these blank. Room number, work phone. I don't know what that's all about. Leave all these blank and just, is the information correct? Yes. And look at this. You can follow it here. So user mod, that's user mod. Root login, no. Root, and so everything that happens up here is happening down here. That's all it's doing. So instead of us running fab all, we're going to run these individually, and you're going to see that this fab file is not at all intimidating. So my new user is created. Let's test it out. Let's go over here and close out my terminal, open up a new window, and try to log in like that. So I'm going to come over here, and here it is. So all you type in is, instead of putting root, you put your name. So SSH, rodgtr1 is my name, at your IP address. That's all you do. This is for your new super user. If I hit return, it's going to ask me for my password. Boom. I'm in the project. So if I hit ls, there's nothing there. We haven't uploaded anything yet. All right, so remember it was, so that created our user. So fab all is what we would run next. Well, fab all is three things: install, create, and deploy. That's all fab all does. So let's start with install. This installs the base system and Python requirements for the entire server. All right, so let's look at this. So it updates some things. It installs, this Python dev. We've already done all this, so we don't need to use that. But like I said, if we do run it and it's already there, it'll just skip over it. So what I'm going to do, just for safe measure, I'm going to make all these Python 3, and Python 3. And I'm going to comment out that because we don't need to update anything anymore. We've updated everything we need. And then here's another thing. This is something that hung up on my system, is this install Python requirements, because these try to install with Python 2.7. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back to my web page here that has all this good stuff on it, and I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to install the virtual environment and this virtual environment wrapper myself. So all I'm doing here, instead of saying pip install virtual env wrapper, and Mercurial, instead of running this, I'm going to do this before I run this function. So I'm going to go ahead and just comment that out. I'm not going to use it because it runs an error on my machine. And by the way, Mercurial doesn't work with Python 3, so I'm not even going to install that. I'm not using it anyway. So I'm going to save that, and then I'm going to come over here and do this. I'm going to go back to my document. If I come down here where they create a virtual environment, there's two commands here. There's sudo h pip install. This just upgrades pip to pip 3. That's just to make sure that we're in Python 3. We want to keep making sure of that. So I'm going to punch this in, and I'm going to run it, put in my password. All right, good. That installed. Now we want to install this virtual env and virtual env wrapper. So by using pip 3, I'm assuring Python 3 again. So install this virtual env and then install the wrapper. All right, so if I come back to my fab file, I don't need to install any of this. All right, so I'm commenting that out because I've already done it. Now what else does it do? It just it creates a virtual environment for me, and that's it. All it does is installs all of these things we need and then creates our environment. So just for a recap, I commented out this apt-get update. We don't need to update again. I changed my Pythons to Python 3, and I commented out this virtual environment stuff and installed it myself. That's all. We can leave everything like it is, and we can run this command. So next up is install. Let's do that. Fab install return. Now we look down here, it says apt-get install, nginx, all of these things. That's what this is. Apt-get install, all of these things. So it's just running this function. So let's put in our password. All right, so it's running all this stuff, installing all these things that it doesn't have, and then it's going to create our environment. So down here in a minute, you're going to see that created. All right. All right, great. That's wonderful. Next up is the create. This is going to create our project. This is actually going to upload our project. And by the way, I used, you might want to use Git or something. I used, in my local settings, I used rsync, I think. Did I even put, I didn't even put that in there. Anyway, I'm using rsync. I'm not using Git. But you can use Git. There's instructions for that. You just put in your repository and stuff like that. So anyway, back to my fab file. So next up, I want to run this create. So this creates the environment needed to host the project. This environment consists of blah, 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 all of this stuff. So what does this do? This generates the project locale. This creates the project. So this makes the directory. This sets up the virtual environment. So this actually activates our virtual environment. We upload the project files. We create the database and the database user, and the database user is going to be the same name as our project. Mine is Mez test, and so is the database. So you'll see that in a minute. Sets up a SSL certificate, which we didn't mention, so it's not going to set that up. Installs project-specific requirements. Bootstraps the DB, so this actually migrates all of our stuff. Makes our migrations, our Mezzanine Django migrations. And that's it. Returns true. Finished. So this is probably the biggest step because this creates our project. So let's do this. Fabric, create. That's all we do here, and hit return. Oh, sorry. Fab create, hit return. And look, first thing is locale-a. Let's see if that matches up with their create function. Yep, locale right here. There it is. So let's put in our password for this. And it's running. Let's let it run here. So installing setup tools pip wheel, so it just installed our virtual environment. Now it's going to ask us for a password again. And here it is. It's uploading my project. So I have some big images in here about -bg. So I'm going to let this may take 2 to 3 minutes, so I may come back after this is done. I may not. I may come in and show you some other stuff. So here in a minute, it's actually going to migrate all of my migrations to the database, which is really neat. Also, it runs the python.manage.py collect static, which is going to go to all of my static folders, collect them, and put them in a main static folder. Because in the production site, we can't run debug, so we're going to have to serve these files from our production environment, and that's going to be looking in the main static folder. So everything needs to be pushed to that. So there's a lot of great features with this fab file. So here it goes, some more stuff going on here. All right, installing some Gunicorn stuff, and then finally let's see, all right, applying all of my migrations. And that's it. So things have been created now. So we've run fab secure to create the user. We ran fab install to install all of our dependencies, and now we did fab create to create our project. So actually, if I come here and just hit ls, you'll see my projects right here under Mezzanine. If for some reason I wanted to check my IP address, if I want to check my project, I'll go to my IP address and I should get the Nginx page. Welcome to Nginx. Well, what does that mean? Well, that means we need to run fab deploy. What does fab deploy do? Well, let me show you. That's next in our fab file. Let's go down here and let's remove. Here it is, deploy. Deploy latest version of the project. Now, if you come up here to the top, there's another little section where it talks about templates. Now, look at this. Templates. There's Nginx, so this is the local path, the remote path, and the reload command. So it has a local path, it has a remote path, and it has a reload command. So it reloads these things as needed, which is just restarting it. So here's the Nginx. Here's the supervisor, which is a helper. Here is the cron jobs stuff. I'm not even sure what that's used for. I think it's used with Twitter. With Mezzanine, I think it's used to check Twitter feeds. Anyway, here's the Gunicorn and settings. So these things are not installed and reset until we run deploy. So if you run this now, you're not going to get the proper site, if that makes any sense. These templates are run in the deploy stage. So we need these configurations to be installed, and that's done in the deploy stage. So if we come back down here to deploy, restart, deploy. So here it is. So if not exists, if confirmed project does not exist, would you want to create it? So if you just run deploy and there's no project, it'll send you back to create. That's all. So it backs up your current version of the project. So when you hit deploy, it'll back up the current version. You can actually roll it back to the previous version. It's kind of neat. So it backs up the previous version. It deploys the latest version. All right, so here it is running the collect static and the migrate again. And then this function, upload template and reload. If you actually look that up, that is updating the Nginx and the Gunicorn, all that stuff, and restarting everything. And then it restarts totally, and then returns true. The restart command you can find up top. There's all kind of stuff in here. Like if you just look through it, there's the restart command. There's the remove. If you want to blow away the current project, just delete it. You can run fab remove. There's all kind of things in here. We're not even using it all. So I would suggest that you go through it and just kind of learn it a little bit. So the last thing we need to do is deploy it. So fab deploy, that's what we need to run. So we come down here, fab deploy, and hit return. And it asks us for password again. And here it is. It's going to deploy it. There we go. We're backing things up. We're creating a refreshed new version, whoops, of the site. All right. collecting static, running the migrations. There's no migrations to apply. It's got some Nginx. It's got Gunicorn. All of these things going on that that would probably take us at least an hour to set up. This does it for you. Now look at this. I just finished deploy. My site should be all set. No errors. And I just say one more time, if you go through this fab file and just look at what's going on, you can run this successfully with no errors. Errors usually happen when we don't quite understand them. And I understand this was created to make it easy, but as developers, it's just important to try to understand what we're doing also. So here's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go to my IP address, copy it, and I'm going to run it, and I have an internal server error. Uh-oh. What is that all about? Well, what's neat is that we have logs we can look at. Okay, so if you go to your project and just, what is it? Oh, right here, ls. Right here, cd logs. There's a number of logs we can look at. Whoops. There's the Mez test error log. And here's what I like to do. Here's a suggestion for you. If you open up an FTP program, just use this IP address. Use that IP address, punch that in as your server. So I'm just going to do SFTP. Punch that in as your server. And then for your username, the new super user that we created, just put in that name and then put the password. And you can log right into your site. Whoops, I don't want web DAV. How did I switch to that? Put this SFTP. So make sure that's selected. Put in your super username and password, and you should be able to go right into your site. And this gives you a better look at what's going on. So here's your base directory here. If you go to home, there should be home somewhere. You go to home, and here is your username. Click that, and here's your main thing. So here's Mezzanine, here's logs. If I click on logs, I see that my latest one was created at 1240. So I can probably check out the Mez test error log or one of these, and it'll give me some information. But hey, we're using Gunicorn, right? So we can actually run our test server here to see what's going on. And to do that, you just do this. So let me go back out. So first thing I want to do is I want to activate my virtual environment. So if you do ls-a, you'll see the hidden files. You see there's a folder called virtual envs. And then if you were to go into that, you see that there is a folder called Mez test. If you go into Mez test, you'll see there is a bunch of folders, which is bin. So it is bin, and then inside that is activate. That's our virtual environment. So I'm going to cd out of that. I'm going to go back here, and I'm just going to put source virtual envs. I think it was Mez test bin activate. All right, so my project's activated. To go to the main folder, we go into Mezzanine. Whoops. And then there should be our project here, which is Mez test. And inside of this is everything I'm used to. So here's my fab file, here's my project folder, the static folder, all the things we used in our Mezzanine project. Here's manage.py. Everything is good. See, our Gunicorn is already set up. So we can actually do this. We can go to Python, manage.py, run server, and then we want to put this 0.0.0.0:8000. This allows us to run on our test server, which ends in 8000. So the zeros are kind of like wildcards, and the 8000 allows us to add an 8000 to our IP address. So let's run this, see if it runs. Okay, it runs with no problem. So here we can do an 8000 and see what happens. So we get this: a server error occurred, please contact the administrator. So if I come over here, I got all kind of things, and when it comes to these long exceptions, it's hard to look through the whole thing. What I do is I usually look at the top or the bottom and try to get a feel of what's going on. Down here it tells us exactly what's going on. It says compressor uncompressible file error, and here it is: HTTPS fonts Google. So if we look at our project, And if you followed along and created the project, you'll be familiar with this. If not, just sit back and hang on just a minute, and we'll be done with this in just a second. So theme, is it theme? Yeah, theme and templates. If I go to my base.html, remember that we pulled in the Google fonts. And right here in the CSS area, the compress CSS, so this is compressing our CSS all the way to the end here. We have our Google font links. Well, the compressing is for our CSS files. It's not for outside Google links. So that it's not able to compress these outside links. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut these out, and I'm going to paste them outside of the compress section. And then I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to stop my server. I'm just going to try it again, see what happens. All right. Let me run this again, see what we get. All right, so we still got a server error. Let's try the real site and see if that changed anything there. Remember we had the server error there? Let's try our real site. Still an internal can't even talk. Internal server error. Oh, what am I doing? You can't move these out on my local project and expect that to change anything on my server. So what I could do is I could just type fab deploy, and this would deploy the project again. But what I'm going to do easier than that is I'm just going to take this base.html, these changes that I made, I'm going to reveal in the Finder. All right, here's my base. So I'm going to take these changes and I'm going to come here to my FTP. I'm going to go to my project, Mezzanine, Mez Test, and not my project, our theme folder, and there's a templates, and I'm just going to drag this base.html in here. And just overwrite that with our changes. So now that should get rid of that error. All right, so what I can do, I'll stop my server, let me run it again. Go to my page, and let's check the main page. All right, so now the main page is running. All right, the main page is running. All right, let's remove this 8,000. Let's see our real site. And here it is. Great. Now, there's one thing we want to check. We want to check to make sure the migrations are moved over. So we can just say Python manage.py make migrations. Let's check that first. Oh, yeah. So one of our migrations didn't go over, so we need to do that. Another thing we should do is Python manage.py migrate. Let's migrate that over then. Okay, so just to make sure everything, and we can also check this. Python manage.py collect static. Make sure all of our files are collected and put into a main folder. Whoops. Oh, I got to type yes, not Y. Yes, and there's nothing. So everything's good. So here's what we got. But look at our site and look at that one. We're missing a lot of stuff here. Well, the server's not running there. But anyway, we're missing our pages. We're missing a number of things. But let's just make sure our site is working first. So it is nice because we do have our site in totality, but we don't have any of the data. So if we're like, hey, I didn't want any blog posts. I didn't want those pages anyway. I want to start fresh. We're good to go. If you come down here to blog posts, if you add a blog post, and you'll see that we still have our retina image function, featured images. Everything is still here. Everything's still looking okay. And it's great. Everything, our little code sample where we insert our syntax highlighting, that's still good. Everything's looking good. So we have all of our functionalities, we just don't have any data. So just to test it out, I can say first post. Let me create a category. Cat1. Published today. Now, hello. Let's just say hello and hit save. Now if we view the site, we have, there it is. There's our first post. Our archives are still here. Our category is still here. But remember, we created an about page. We created a contact page with a contact form. What else was it there? Anyway, we had data in there, and we want to bring that data back. If you don't, you're fine. You're good to go. But if you do want to bring the data back, let me show you how to do that. So I'm going to go back to my admin real quick and go to blog post. I'm just going to delete that blog post. I want my fresh site. Now you remember in the last video, and if you haven't followed along the project or you're watching this on a like YouTube or something, I think I might put this on YouTube. If you're watching it there, go to the previous video. It's called something like, I'll put a link to it below, but it's called something like migrating our Mezzanine database and data to Postgres. I'll show you how to actually dump that data into a JSON file and import it into Postgres. So you should still have that file if you followed along. If not, go back to that video. The command is actually, I have it saved here somewhere. The command to dump that, if you go back to your local project and you switch back to the dev.db, if you switch back to the dev.db database, you can dump that database and then we can import it here into Postgres. So Python 3 manage.py dump data, that's the main command. And then there's this dash natural foreign, dash natural primary, that just makes it readable. And we're excluding content types, we're excluding auth.permission, dash indent 4, this gives it an indent of 4 to make it really readable, and then we dump it to db4.json. Actually, we dumped it to db.json. So that's what we used to dump the database, the dev.db database. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to that video, do that, and then come back here. So if you have followed along, you should have that database still in your system. So we called it db.json. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go now to that file. So if I go to my local thing, I still have it here, db.json. And this is just a JSON file. And the thing we want to do, and I think I've already done this. Let me see if I can't undo it. But what you have is this 127.0.01, 8000. In your database, you're going to find that in all of the, if you open that db.json file, you're going to find that old IP address in there. So you're going to find your local server IP address, this 127.0.0.1. You're going to want to open this db.json and replace that occurrence. So if it's 127.0.0.1, if that's what you have all through here, you're going to want to replace it with your IP address. So back to DigitalOcean, let me copy that IP address. You're going to want to replace it with that. So I've already done that. If you don't do that, your site will not pick up your data because it cannot use that IP address. So all of your blog posts, all of your pages, all of that stuff will be looking for the other IP address. So just go into your db.json, search for that local IP address, and just do a search replace all and replace it with your DigitalOcean IP address. So mine is 142.93.255, blah, blah, blah. And you can see this JSON file has, here's my blog post, here's the description. It has all of this great data in it. It's very readable. So we're going to take this and load it into our Postgres database. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on db.json, reveal in the Finder. And I'm going to go to my main directory here. So that's going to be Mez test. This is where my project lies, my manage.py. And I'm going to copy, where did it go? I lost it here. Yeah, so db.json, let me open that again, reveal in Finder. I'm going to copy that into my main project. Right there in the same folder as manage.py. I think I already have it. So I shouldn't already have it. Oh yeah, anyway. Oh, I guess it uploaded with my project. That's why it's in there. But anyway, main thing is take that db.json and copy it into your Mezzanine folder, your main project folder. And then from there, we're going to go to our project here, and we're going to type this in. Let's make sure we're in the right folder. Yep. We're simply just going to do this. We're going to do Python manage.py load data and then db.json. This is all we're going to put. This is going to pull all of that data into our database. So I'm going to hit return. And it says install 226 objects from one fixture. Great. That is what we got when we did it in our local project. We got the same amount, around the same amount. It's 200 and something. So now I should be able to come here. If I go to view site, I now should have my information. There it is. Boom. I have 5th post, 4th post, my 3rd post. I have my about page. I have my contact page. All of my info is here. Here's their contact form. Everything's looking great. So we just imported our data. But we got this problem here. Our images are not showing up. So this is another thing to talk about. So now that we have it on our DigitalOcean server, there's going to be some troubleshooting. All right, of course, nothing ever runs completely 100% smooth, so there's going to be some troubleshooting. So let me show you a couple things we can do to fix our site. And a couple things that I've noticed that I just want to point out. So one thing I've noticed in this using Fabric to deploy our site, one thing I've noticed is that there's some things in the virtual environment that doesn't get copied over. Like for instance, this file here, if I go so static media uploads blog, let's go there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So static media uploads blog. Let me show hidden files. So my thumbnails folder is there, but my other photos are not. If I come here and I go, where is it at? So if I come here to my static folder and go to media, uploads, blog, there's my thumbnails folder, but then there's these images here that didn't get copied in. What's up with that? I don't know why. Also, there is, and you may see this problem in a minute. I'm not sure it'll show up. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy that in. So I'm going to take this whole blog folder. I'm going to reveal in Finder. And I'm going to copy that entire folder in. So I'm just going to drag blog in there, and it's going to say, do you want to overwrite? Yes, I want to overwrite. And so my point in this is that sometimes when doing this kind of thing, you have to troubleshoot. Not everything works 100%, but it's pretty, I mean, we got the site up. That's the hardest part. Now that the site is up, we just got a few things to tweak. So let's do this real quick and see if this works. And by the way, if your site's up and you don't want to copy over the data and you think you're good, you can stop here. You're good to go. If you want to incorporate Git or you want to have it to point to your domain and stuff, there's some stuff out there on that. That's the easy part. So I suggest you can go ahead and do that, and I'm going to keep working to build our project site for those who followed along. So let's get things working 100% again. And actually, you know what? This may not be Mezzanine's fault anyway. When I created this project, I put this static folder outside of the theme and the My Project. So I think when we did collect static, what it does is it collects static from all of your apps, and it puts them all into this main folder, and it overwrites everything in it. So it may be that we just shouldn't have put this static folder outside of the apps. I don't know. I don't know what the cause is, but my images are not showing up and that stuff is not there. So my upload is complete. Let's look now and see if my images are there. So let me refresh. And there's my images. Look. Great. So our images are here. Our filters are here. Everything is here. Everything is looking good and functional. Here's our about page. Here, and remember our blog page, this should actually not be in our navigation because our blog page just redirects to the home page. Remember that? So we can come up here, go to admin, and because we copied our database, your super user information should still be there. If you need to create one, it's just Python manage.py create super user. So let me come to, not blog post, let me come to pages here and just take blog and take it out of the menu. Save that. Now go back to our site, and blog is still there. Why is blog still there? anyway, I'm not going to waste your time because this should be a pretty quick fix, and this video is already super long. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to delete the page. We don't have a blog page. We're not using the blog page. So I'm just going to delete it and view site, and it's gone now. So whatever was going on there, I'm not sure. It may be something you can look into. So anyway, our contact page, our form is here. You want to test out your form. Now, by the way, let me show you what this thing will error out. Let me show you one thing. Our local settings, like I told you, gets a bunch of stuff gets replaced in there when this thing deploys. All right. So I don't know all the workings of it. I haven't taken time to look into why. Probably because it gets rid of that Fabric dictionary and stuff. So anyway, if you download your local settings.py and open it up, you'll see that your email information is gone. So here's what you need to do. If you've been working on the project with us, here's what you need to do. Open up the local settings in your local project. Go down to the email section. Just take that there and copy it back into your local settings. All right, you need to do that. And remember, we use this environment variable. So you want to open back up your local version of the environment bin activate file, and you want to find those export variables that we put in there. You want to paste that back into our DigitalOcean project. So like I told you, the virtual environment is found, virtual environment is found in this .virtualenvs folder, and then whatever you named your project, and then the bin folder, and then there's this activate file. Download that activate file, open it up in your code editor, add those export variables back, and then in your local settings.py enter your email information so that your environment works. Up here in the databases, my password's being shown. What I want to do is I want to also switch that to a variable as well that I've defined in my activate, just like we did in the project we created. You want to go back and do that here. Now, there's another thing that may be a good idea. It's something I did because that still didn't fix my form. What I did was I took my, and again, you may not need to do this, but I took my, if you go out to virtual environments, and inside of that go to the lib folder, Python 3.6, and then go to site packages, and go to, your Mezzanine install is here. So there's your Mezzanine install. What you might want to do is you might want to copy in the entire Mezzanine folder from your local project, copy it and copy it over top of this Mezzanine, because I was missing actually some migrations that didn't get brought over when I was testing this whole thing out. So you may want to do that. You may want to copy in this Mezzanine folder. Also, I was getting an error with my TinyMCE. It couldn't find the JavaScript file. I'm not getting it here, so maybe that was something I did. But that's something to think about too. You may want to copy in your Mezzanine core install into your DigitalOcean virtual environment core install of Mezzanine. That's another option, and your email will work after that because I got it to work. So make sure you define all that again, and I think we are good. Your project is up. What you can do is you can now access it FTP. Your little droplet is here. You can always come here and check it out. And by the way, if you did this and you got some errors and you're like, I'm going to start fresh again, you can choose right here, destroy. And you get two options. You can destroy the droplet. Don't do that. Keep your droplet. Come down here to rebuild droplet and choose what your base image would be and hit rebuild. What it does is it wipes your droplet clean, it sends you a new email, and then you can start fresh again. So hey guys, this was a long video. I hope this helped. I was looking everywhere while I was learning this thing, and it seemed like everybody was having problems with it. But I guarantee if you take this fab file, you work your way through it function by function, it'll make a lot of sense to you, and you'll actually see, hey, this is a great idea, because this long instructional here of how to do this is just a lot of work, and the Mezzanine folks have put it all together for you. So hey, great job on the project. This ends the intermediate section, and next we're going to move into creating an e-commerce store with Cartridge. So if you have taken my project and you're up to this point, I look forward to see you in the next section. If you haven't and you've benefited from this and you're like, hey, I want to learn more about Mezzanine, then hey, go back and take my course. I have a really in-depth course. I have it on Udemy and I have it on Skillshare. And by the way, you can take it on Skillshare for free because I can give you 2 free months on Skillshare. Really cool. And the link will be below for the Skillshare sign up. So hey guys, hope this was helpful. If you have issues, try to work them out. Try to look through this file. I guarantee you'll get it, but if you just can't get it, ask me in the comments and I'll try to help you out. All right, so thanks again. See you in the next lesson.